Hi, Roi. Welcome
Roi.
to the Data Shark podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, Roi Barak,
Yes.
one of our most capable senior developers,
The first one in Pyramid.
and
Yes.
the first developer, probably the first employee
The first employee. Yes.
at Pyramid. And I actually wanted us to have a conversation about building software, working for a startup, starting from the basement, living under the
Yes.
table, and through the journey of seeing eventually customers using a product that you developed.
Helping.
And
Yes.
what are the roles and responsibilities of a senior developer? So, first of all, we met over 15 years ago.
Exactly.
I had hair.
Yes.
No, I didn't, unfortunately.
And I didn't as well. That's fine.
Yeah. We're kind of a mirror view of each other. We didn't really know back then what the future of Pyramid is going to be. And you actually took quite a boldy decision to join a non-funded startup that had no people, that actually the CTO back then was living in the States, so there was nobody to talk to. And you know what? Why did you do that? That was very risky.
I love challenges. Even when I was younger, 15 years back when we were younger, I saw the challenge. I met you, I met the CTO, and the vision that you guys showed me of how Pyramid might look. Actually, that's what brought me on board. Plus, the projects that the CTO Avi told me that I would handle. When even in the first year, that was a big challenge for me. And at the time, just before I met you and Avi and started at Pyramid, I was doing a big mapping project. I'm not going to say the names, but it was before, back 15 years back, 16 years back. That was a big mapping project. That's what I got in. And when Avi interviewed me, I told him that's what I did. And I think that's what excited him. And he was all into it to hire me. And the rest is history, right? About BI Office and the mapping, that was one of the biggest achievement of the time.
Yeah, it was. You're responsible for lots of big projects in Pyramid, but I want to take you back to your background, because I think that having the courage to start with a new startup as the first developer is not for everybody. And you have a very unusual background, global, multinational, working in various places. Share with us a little bit.
That's the courage. I think I'll go back a bit, not to bore our viewers. Go to the age when I was 16. My father was a military attaché in Thailand, so that was my first time abroad. And I did my junior and senior year in Thailand in an American school. I think that's what opened my mind at an early stage that it's possible to live abroad. And that's what got me going straight out of the army. Went to study in Canada for 4 years, did my bachelor's degree there in computer science. And afterwards I did my master's in Australia. So the adventure side and being able to take those chances, I think that's the same little bug that I have in me that told me that I must jump on this boat of Pyramid and take the opportunity. And I never regretted it for a second, 15
Amazing.
years ago, and I love this place, and I still see us growing more, having more clients, and excelling as we always do.
Incredible. It's interesting when I also moved with my family to the US, and I think we had a conversation about taking children's, which my kids weren't that old, but they were teenagers, maybe a little bit less than that. And I didn't know if that was a good decision. I was asking lots of people, like, what does that do for you as a kid? And you were definitely one of the people that I kind of chatted about having your own kids, taking that kind of an experience. And, we got, obviously, we stayed there for a few years. We came back to Israel. And I think that when I'm speaking to them, I kind of hear the same, no boundaries, willing to take a risk. The world is your oyster. Exactly. It's like everything is possible. So I encourage every parent to give that kind of a gift to their kids if possible. Mm-hmm. Give them the experience of learning how to live in a new place, find new friends, adopt new culture, start a new language. I think it's such a mind opener that builds so many skill sets that, tying it back to being a developer, you basically need to reimagine how a line of code will translate to something that eventually one of our customers is going to use. So what is the right philosophy for developers? Like if I'm maybe a younger developer starting my career and I'm listening to you, how should I think about it?
Okay. Well, first, I remember that talk that we had about your son, and I told you at the time, I think that was the biggest gift that you can give him, and they would only understand it years after. So, or that would be...
They will probably listen to this podcast, and I'll tell you what they said, but hopefully they will appreciate it. If you're listening at home, I hope you do.
Yep. So it is a gift. Now back to programming and developing. I think when you start and you are an early developer, I think it's hard to see the bigger picture and how this one line of code will contribute to the rest of the application. And slowly, when you collaborate with other people and when you contribute to the overall process of making a small little, and that's exactly how we started with a line of code, and all of a sudden we've got this big project. And for young developers, I think to have mentors or people, the right people that can challenge them on the one hand and hold their hand metaphorically throughout this process, I think that's something that can bring them and to become good developers and will help them to excel and to actually develop, we're talking development, actually develop a feature that will hold and that will integrate with the rest of the software. So for young people, I think, for me as a team leader, to teach and to show these young developers how to integrate with Pyramid and how to excel, I think that was and still is one of my favorite things to do. To take the young developers, help them, teach them, believe in them, and actually show them how they can believe in themselves, that they can contribute to Pyramid or to any software company that they're working.
Yeah, and I think that we at Pyramid have, I hope that it's shown, but I feel that it's a learning environment that, as a culture, we even though we're constantly growing and, it becomes bigger and more people and more locations and more customers and we maybe have wider recognition, I still feel that every day I'm coming to a startup. I'm not coming to kind of an established vendor that sells software. And so what you're saying basically, first of all, makes me proud that that's the type of team leadership that we have in the company, that we're mentoring, we're educating, we're building the next generation of software developers. but I also think that that's something that maybe we at Pyramid we're constantly trying to maintain, which is a family style culture.
You're so correct, Omri. Not because you're my boss, I'm saying it, but it is. It's kind of the DNA of this company, and you look throughout the years, and some people went, some people left us, but the majority stayed. And then you're asking yourself, how come we've got so many people who are here for such a long time, for 10 years, 12 years, 8 years, and usually the life expectancy of a self-developer in a company is, let's say, 3 years, right? And all of a sudden you have this big chunk, like a big crowd of people that don't want to leave, and they're happy where they are, and I'm one of them, of course. And that's, and again, that's a DNA, that's a family-like workplace. And I think it's also the challenges that we give each developer and the ability to excel. We let people that are ambitious, the ability to actually grow and to actually, we don't, some places that are really big, you just feel like you're a little screw in the system, while here each person can contribute and each person can excel to high levels. And I think that's why people stay, because they like this family-oriented place. It's hard to actually pinpoint what is the number one thing that makes people stay or what makes people happy. But in Pyramid, but we actually do it without even wanting to do it, and I think that's the biggest apart for the system, for what we built. I think for that stuff, for the family-oriented place, I think that's the biggest achievement that we've done here.
And I think that we're in a space that is such fast pace, growing, that the challenges that you can actually deal with if you are ambitious from a technology standpoint are probably greater than many places. You know, when we talk to the market, investors, analysts, customers, sometimes from the outside, Pyramid feels like a 5, 6, 7, 8 startups company. We're touching so many aspects in the analytics industry that, and I'm wondering how you think about it from your perspective. But when I think about it, it's almost an opportunity to have multiple disciplines developed in one company. You know, what we developed over the years was probably developed in various companies, in, you know, the analytics and the AI and the reporting and the back end and the front end and the management store and this and that. Each one of those elements could have been a startup by itself. And the fact that you actually have the opportunity here to being exposed to so many aspects of the data analytics foundations should also be something that develops developer.
That's true. I think that's absolutely true. But the freedom that Avi gives to the developers in terms of how, not pinpointing to each little line that they write, but looking at the big picture and the freedom that each developer sees, even the juniors, and the ability to touch so many technologies, exactly what you're saying. And I think that's another, except for the family, what we talked about earlier, in terms of talking only about technology and languages and how you develop in those languages, the freedom that they get or we get, actually makes them excel to higher levels, makes them wanting to contribute more, and each developer then sees how he can in his little world, how he can excel, how can he learn and basically become a better developer in the future. So each person here, and you can take each one of them, ask them why are you here, or what are you getting from developing in this language or in that language that Avi gave them, and he tells you the freedom and what I can learn, what my team leaders teach me, that's why I'm here, and that's why I like doing that, and that's why I am learning more, and each day is a new day, and each day I'm learning new things, and that's the beauty.
So one of the big values for Pyramid is being customer obsessed, right? I think from day one are very much thinking, from a roadmap perspective, what customers really need. It's not being developed here in the basement, completely disconnected and isolated from the market. It's maybe on the other side of the spectrum. We bring market evidence for why we develop. So that's on the pre-product side. And also, I think maybe unlike other development floors, we love the fact that the R&D team is interacting with customers, talking to them, helping them, providing them with guidance, with support, with, recreating all kinds of challenges that they might have. And sometimes we hear critique on why do you waste developers' time on working with customers? And I actually think this is probably one of the unique things that we can do as an organization, that customers will have firsthand experience with our R&D group, but also for the R&D group to have really strong feedback from the market. How do you think about that approach?
I think we can ask the customers about the hours of going online with them and helping them, or fixing some issues that we had, and making the product much better from personal experience. And actually listening to them, I think that's what they also appreciate, listening to them, to their needs. And I think most of the time, they see what they ask for in our little support calls, that what they ask for is actually being implemented in the future releases. And I think that's, and I've got many examples to give throughout the years that I've seen it. And I think they really appreciate that. I think that's from a developer point of view, at least from my point of view of helping the customers on a support call. I think it was being able to actually help them is making me, as a developer, feel better, right? If you go on a support call and you fix and you help a customer and you realize the appreciation on the other side, that makes my day, actually. Honestly, I have plenty of examples, right? So, yeah.
No, I know, and I don't know how often customers, meet you on an offline conversation, not necessarily around a specific need that they have. I meet them quite often. And I think one of the things that I'm hearing constantly is the fact that they have the opportunity to actually talk with the people behind the product is definitely a huge differentiator in the space from most of the other vendors. So from that perspective, we have huge gratitude to our teams. Not everybody feels comfortable talking to customers, right? Sometimes I rather stand behind the keyboard, write my own code, and leave me alone. And I think that's another unique aspect of what was created here in the R&D with the R&D group, is that almost everybody kind of even fight to eventually speak with customers.
True, and that's again the feeling that you get after you help somebody. I think everybody on the floor, each person on the floor gets when he's able to actually help the customer. That makes him feel better, and that makes your day, because we are behind our screens all day and we do develop. And when you have this side note of an hour of helping somebody, hear their requests, and being able to actually make Pyramid looks better in their eyes, that's how I see it. That's everything for the developer, I think. That's unique.
It's highly appreciated, I think, by everybody, including the customers. So back to your role as a senior leader in the R&D department. You run various projects. Some of them are part of the roadmap moving forward, around AI, automation, adding more capabilities to include more and more types of users. Where do you see the biggest opportunity if I'm a new developer and I look at Pyramid or other companies and I want to kind of build my career moving forward in the development space?
So like you said, there's the projects that we're looking forward, and now I'm going to touch about something a bit different. Don't touch about maintenance, and people don't look at that, and I look at it very heavily, and I put a lot of focus on maintenance. What I talk about is making what we have now, making it better in every aspect. So if we're talking about code-wise and database-wise and on that aspects, and that's what I kind of my team as well would like to do, is taking what we have now, and apart from all the new things that we need to add to Pyramid, is taking what we have and making it much better. Taking queries that we have and exponentially making them better. And that's something that every day when I tell my crew, okay, how we can make this piece of code run faster, and at the end, Pyramid will run faster, and customers do appreciate it. When things work better, work faster, and I can put a lot of emphasis on this one piece of code, and at the end, I would know that I actually beat the code. I mean, beat the code is a challenge to make it much faster. And I think in my team, I think in other teams as well, I think that's a big challenge, and I love it. I love beating the code. Making things much faster, that's, yeah.
Beating the code, that's what we want. Keep beating the code.
Yep.
Absolutely. So maybe let's talk a little bit about the career of a developer, right? So some people choose to continue to be developers. That's what they like. That's what they appreciate doing. Some people would like to kind of step up and be a team leader and maybe go into director of R&D and maybe, I don't know, more senior positions. Mm-hmm. How do you think about kind of who's the right persona for this, who's the right persona for that? How do you build your team? Like, do you build a mix? Do you build your successor? Do you have a second man? What's your philosophy for building a team?
My philosophy is for my people in the team to come to work and be happy, and then they will contribute, and that we will see better software. We'll see Pyramid becoming better software, and in order to do that, each person that is in his own way can excel and can actually become better to other people in the organization. And in my team, I have my second person that helps me, and in the future he will become the team leader and will take my spot eventually, probably. And for me, I show him and I show the other people in my team. I think that I'll go back to university. One of the things that I did, I actually tutored, and one-on-one math. That was my specialty at the time. And I saw people that failed every year, and it, for me at the time, was a big achievement that I actually got them to pass, and got them to pass with a B, or I'm talking about a F all the time, and then a B. That was a big jump, and the hugs and everything, and the appreciation that they showed me afterwards. Then I loved how to. I appreciated the time, and I enjoyed helping them. Same goes here. I'm not saying we have F students. No, we don't have that. But taking a junior developer, helping him excel, helping him become the best that he can be and the best that he can contribute. I think that's a challenge. I think that's what I love. That's what I love, seeing how I can go back years. And we had a developer, and I thought he didn't do good in a different team, and I had him in my team, and he all of a sudden he excelled. He became one of Pyramid's most important employees. So seeing that is for me is very fulfilling. Yeah.
Incredible. That's beautiful. So maybe last question. We're in a tough times for Israel. I think we're all doing everything we can to support the country, to be proud of it. And I think that leads me to a question of what's so unique about developers in Israel, right? It's like we have this secret weapon that is the tech industry in Israel. And eventually it's all about building technology. And I think that when I look at the team we have, and that's not disrespect to anybody outside of Israel, but when I look at the team we have, and not just for Pyramid, for every tech company, but specifically for Pyramid, how would you describe the DNA of Israeli developers? Why are we so damn successful?
Are we good? I have a theory for that. I have a theory, and that goes to where we are in this geography-wise, and the issues that our little country has. But as a kid, when you grow up and you have to go to the army and serve for 3 years, that actually matures you very much. And I think that really contributes to what you become afterwards as the developers, let's say, if we're talking only about developers, right? So that we're talking about more mature people that take life, I'm not saying take life seriously, but take their job seriously, and they want to make things better. They want to make the product or the company they work with, they're more reliable, I would say that, and they don't want to do not a great job. They really care, and I think that's the DNA of Pyramid as well. People really care for what they do. They really care for the code that they put in, and that's what makes us great. That's what I believe in. Yeah.
Amazing. So it's not a day job. It's you're coming to fulfill your destiny.
Absolutely.
Well, that's big. That's big. So we'll finish with that really high note. I don't know how you can finish bigger than that. Thank you, Roi. That was a pleasure. Thank you for being with Pyramid for so long, sticking with us.
Thank you, Omri.
You're definitely one of the foundations of this family.
It is a family. Thank you, Omri.
Thank you.
Yeah.